What do you think, man? I know you like both of those teams. Who do you think's going to win this?
Tell you what, I am pulling for the Kansas City Royals. There's no question about it. And you know, I was thinking about this I was just in my car driving, thinking about this when I heard the starting pitching matchup for Game 1 and James Shields, big game James, and Madison Bumgarner. But you think about this is I like when teams, you know, develop through their system, which the Royals have. You know, Hosmer, Moustakas coming into his own here after a couple of disappointing seasons, really. You know, and you go up and down their lineup, a lot of homegrown guys. And you know, some good free agent acquisitions, some good role players that they didn't go out and spend too much money to get. You know, players, just guys off their bench, things like that. And then, you know, that trade they made a few years ago when they dealt Will Myers, who's, you know, supposed to be the next best thing, and they got James Shields and Wade Davis. And you know, after last year, people were kind of questioning that from day one. I thought the Kansas City Royals made the right move there because when you look at what they did when they made that trade, you know, you can always try to stockpile prospects. But at some point, when you identify a core of players, and they saw that they had it with Hosmer and Butler and Moustakas, you know, they decided, you know what, we're going to go out and start getting some pieces, and we're going to compete for this thing. Because that AL Central, even though the Tigers on paper look like they should win it every year, and they really should blindfolded, they don't. And you know, they built a complete team, did the Kansas City Royals. They went out and got parts. They didn't sit around and wait for prospects. They went and got guys to fill those holes, and now there they are in the World Series. And honestly, last year, had Wade Davis performed like a number 3 starter all season, they probably would have been in the playoffs last season, but that didn't happen. But this year, you know, I just love what they've done. I can go on and on about how much I love how the Kansas City Royals have built that team. That said, though, my gut says San Francisco in this series. The experience factor is there. Those guys just seem to come up big when the chips are down. And you know, we can say that about San Francisco because we've seen a lot of guys on that side have success in these situations. With Kansas City, we've seen them in these first couple playoff series, but that's not the same sample size that we have to look at when it comes to, you know, compared to the one that we have with the San Francisco Giants and what they've been able to do in the last few years. So, like I said, I'm pulling for Kansas City. My gut says San Francisco.
I'm kind of there with you, too. It'll be interesting to see when the immovable object and the irresistible force of destiny here meets. Let's see what happens when they get it on here tonight. I got a question real quick out of the chat room. I didn't see it. Hockey-related. AHL. They changed overtime this year. Kate wants to know if you could quickly explain the changes to overtime in the AHL.
Well, I'm glad she brought it up. Tell her thank you. You know, it's awesome, I think, really, this year because you and I've talked about this. I am not a shootout fan. Never have been. You know, just not a big fan of the shootouts. I understand that it's exciting. You know, people get really into it, but it's not my favorite thing. And it's but at the same time, I understand why they want to award a winner. But I'm not big on an extra point, and those extra points can decide teams' playoff fortunes. I'm not big on an extra point being awarded on a breakaway contest. But either way, they have taken measures in a way to kind of decrease the number of shootouts and make the overtime more exciting, both of which I am totally on board with. And I think this new system implemented by the AHL is an awesome one. And basically what happens is rather than starting overtime, sudden death overtime with 5 minutes on the clock, 7-minute overtime. And so now what happens, you start overtime, 7 minutes, 4-on-4 sudden death. So 4-on-4, just like we've been used to the last few seasons. The first whistle after 3 minutes remain in overtime, you go down to 3-on-3. Now that's a lot of open ice out there, changes the way you kind of have to play the game, changes the way coaches are going to have to coach the game late in that stretch, changes the personnel they might put on the ice. I mean, you think about it, 3-on-3, do you just look for your 3 fastest guys? You know, how do you set that up with 3-on-3 full ice? You're talking about a lot of open ice, and I think fans are really going to get into that. So it's a 7-minute overtime. It starts 4-on-4. It goes to 3-on-3 sudden death after the first whistle after 3 minutes. And very early on in the AHL season, you're seeing. I'm trying to think if there's been a shootout yet this year, but I read a statistic: the first 6 games in the AHL season that had gone to overtime, 3 were decided in the 4-on-4 portion, 3 were decided in the 3-on-3 portion, and they hadn't gone to a shootout yet in that stretch. So it's decreasing the number of shootouts, and I don't think it's making it any less exciting for the fans or anybody, because to be able to see teams go down to 3-on-3, you don't see that very much in regulation time. But to have it go down to 3-on-3 with the game on the line, there's a strategy to that, and I think it's really cool.
Yeah, that is definitely cool, man, and good question there, Kate, as well. That could, and the strategy, like, that's definitely interesting, and that's the thing is, if you're going to win the game, and there is definitely an art to performing in a shootout. Some guys are just very good at it. We've seen moves. Mike Scarbosa during his rookie year put a move on in a shootout against Abbotsford that is still one of the best shootout moves I've seen at any level. But at the same time, if you're going to get, how valuable points are in the American Hockey League. If you're going to get that extra point for a win, you should have to strategize, get down there, set up a scoring opportunity, and earn that goal, rather than just have 3 guys on each side go in for a breakaway contest and that's it. Now that is the other change this year in the AHL. The shootout has gone to the NHL's format, where it's now a 3-round shootout rather than a 5-round shootout, which is how it's been previously in the AHL. So now the game goes to a shootout. It's just a 3-rounder instead of 5. That's some exciting stuff. I like that. Can't wait to see the Monsters mix it up there for the first time, and that'd be a little bit fun to see that up close and personal. Doug Plagens, 3 on the road this weekend before they come back home, and we'll talk about it this time next week, and we'll see if the Monsters performed a little bit better this time out on the road.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, as always.
As always, thanks for being here. My man, Doug Plagens, the voice on TV and radio of the Lake Erie Monsters, your Lake Erie Monsters, and extended road trip almost done. 3 this weekend. They will be back at the Q. Halloween, almost a second opening night. The big scoreboard will be up and everything. Hopefully they're coming in on some momentum from this weekend, and we'll preview the weekend coming up Friday when we get to the end of the week. Thank you again to Doug and the Monsters, as always, for sitting down and feeling like a monster with us. We're going to take a break. When we come back, final segment of the show, Cavaliers, final tune-up, at least as far as they're concerned, for the regular season. We'll talk about that, set the stage for tomorrow, and so much more. Don't go anywhere. Hey, you know what? I'm going to open up the phone lines for a few minutes here to wrap things up. 216-539-7535. Anybody wants to get in? Otherwise, too late. No, I'm just kidding. 216-539-7535. We'll be right back with the final segment of the Sports Fix coming up next.
I must confess that I feel like a monster. I hate what I've become. The nightmare's just begun. I must confess that I feel like a monster. I feel it deep within. It's just beneath the skin. I must confess that I feel like a monster. I'm gonna lose control. It's something radical.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
Throwing you the best sports commentary in town. The Sports Fix.
Guys, want to take just a second as we head into this break and remind you about the official business printing source of the Sports Fix, our friends at Signs and Ship. Signs and Ship, I'm telling you, Chris and Pam, they've taken care of me since day one, and they can do the same for you. Whether you're a small business that's already been established and you're looking to grow to that next level and expand your business, or perhaps you've got an idea that you just know is going to be a great business and you need to figure out how to brand it and how to promote it and put it out there, Signs and Ship is the place for you. If you need a logo, they can create one for you. They have a fantastic graphic designer. Business cards, signs, banners, yard signs, mobile advertising, anything you can think of that you need to promote your business, they've got it at Signs and Ship. The best thing about them, too, is each of their locations, whether it's the home base here in Elyria, Ohio that I work with, or their spots in Virginia, Florida, and Pennsylvania, it's all local sourced. Very important to me because we all understand that small business is the lifeblood of the community. So check them out, signsandship.com, or call Chris and Pam today, 440-323-6060, the home office in Elyria, Ohio. Signs and Ship, quality printing at affordable prices.
It's an addiction. The Sports Fix. We'll be right back.
No football? No problem at Harry Buffalo North Olmsted. The excitement never stops. Every day of the week brings a different set of food and amazing drink specials.
And now,
fans, Harry Buffalo North Olmsted is the home for every UFC pay-per-view live on the big screens.
Let's get it all!
And let's not forget their mouth-watering trademark, the Bison Burger.
They sure are good.
Nobody does bison like Harry Buffalo. The perfect combination of healthy and delicious.
Hey there, eat up, y'all. You's as good church-going folk. Y'all deserve a little treat.
What are you waiting for? Get to Harry Buffalo, just outside Great Northern Mall today. Harry Buffalo. Join the herd.
Hey, this is Alonzo G. You're listening to the Sports Fix.
Well, we're moving on now. Moving on up to the side. To a deluxe apartment in the sky. Moving on up. Moving on up to the side. We finally got a piece of the pie. Fish don't fry in the kitchen.
Welcome back to the Sports Fix, where indeed fish don't fry in the kitchen. Beans may not burn on the grill, but Cavaliers hope that they're moving on up in the world. I know they tried to take it to the east side, to that big hotel, and last night the team that many people expect to give the toughest challenge to the Cavaliers this season when it comes to moving on up all the way up and having some fun. I've been looking for a reason to play the Jeffersons theme song for months. I just couldn't find it. Today I said, hey, that's as good as any. I'm going to take it. But Cavaliers and the Bulls hooked it up last night at the Q. Welcome back to the Sports Fix. J-Rock back with you as we head into the final segment of the show. Phones are open. Going to be a quickie segment here unless somebody decides to call in. Couple of things I want to get into, but Cavaliers, Chicago last night. Bulls come to the shot, if you will, down in Columbus. The Ohio State hosted that game there, and Derrick Rose looked good. 30 points. Kyrie had 28. A lot of those came in the second half, though. Derrick Rose looked good yesterday. Definitely looks like he is back to being what he was, which is an MVP caliber player and somebody that's going to try to lead that team. Cavaliers get the victory. They are 5-1 in the preseason. And this will be the final game where you see LeBron. He already said he's not going to play in the final preseason game. This was really the one shot to see the main thrust of players that are going to be out there during the regular season. And you definitely saw a lot of that with the rotations. Coach Blatt said he was going to use this as his dress rehearsal game. You look at the minutes, you can see that Kevin Love played 35, LeBron 32. Kyrie led the way with 39 points. Minutes. Dion with 33 minutes. And Verjao 23, and then only a very short bench. Tristan, Marion, Dellavedova all played 24 minutes. Mike Miller played 8. You could get an idea for the rotation. You can get an idea for the way the Cavaliers are looking to attack things minute-wise. I mean, clearly you can see the heavy minutes are going to be on Love, LeBron, Kyrie, and Dion, with the majority of the bulk being picked up by Verjao, Thompson, Marion, and Dellavedova. You'll get some contribution various nights more than others from Mike Miller. I'm telling you, Lou Amundson, keep an eye. Man, there's no way he doesn't make the team. I could be wrong, man, but I love that guy. But you know what? I bet you the same people that don't like that I like him don't like Verjao either. I like him because he's like another Verjao. He's a little Tasmanian devil out there. Lou Amundson may give you the most boring stat lines for the most active game sometimes, because I'm telling you, he's out there doing all kinds of things that just annoy the hell out of the other team while he's out there, and he hustles. He's got that wild thing in him, and I know some of you guys don't like Verjao. By the way, very effective game for Verjao last night. I mean, obviously his game's not his problem as much as staying healthy. 10 of 13 last night, 22 points for him, 8 rebounds as well. Kevin Love led the way with 13 rebounds, but only 2 of 10 shooting, over 5 from three-point. And that's where the Cavs cannot fall in love with the three-pointer. Because on the nights where you're making it, then, hey, man, put up 39 shots and we're all making them, and that's great. But when you're not, you know, it's good not to have to completely rely on that. And then this team has so many shooters that like to shoot the three that I can see nights where they fall in love with the three-pointer. I agree. The ball movement is fantastic. But there are going to be nights where they shoot themselves out of games because they're just going to fall in love. Teams are going to give it to them. And they're going to give those guys jumpers a lot. I mean,